They looked closer at how much the Chargers are really worth. Melissa Masiha spoke to one economist who breaks from the pack and says losing the team may not be that big of a hit. Melissa?
And Kim, the Chargers are worth nearly $1 billion, but economists say they really don't bring in as much to the city as some might want to believe. As of 2014, the Chargers were worth $995 million, according to Forbes. The Bolts made $262 million in revenue, ranking in the bottom half. The Oakland Raiders have the lowest revenue at $244 million. And pulling in the most money, the Dallas Cowboys, making more than the Chargers and Raiders combined at $560 million. But experts say when it comes to the economy,
we find no increase in economic activity from building new stadiums, and very little economic activity even from having a franchise at all.
But how could that be? We often hear about all the money that pours in when people buy food and drinks and stay at hotels during the season.
The vast majority of money that is being spent at a Chargers game is money that's being spent by local residents. So that's not new economic activity.
Matheson wrote in his extensive research that leagues use rosy economic impact statements and dangle mega events such as a Super Bowl to encourage otherwise reluctant city officials and taxpayers to provide significant public funding. Experts say it will be extremely difficult to build a stadium here without public money. For comparison, the new Levi's Stadium in the Bay Area was mostly privately funded. It got extra money by selling personal seat licenses, a charge for permission to buy season tickets. Dr. Jim Lackritz with SDSU told Team 10 it would be a total disaster if they tried it here in San Diego because people just won't fork out the money. And today, the Chargers legal counsel said the team has been prepared to pitch in $200 million and borrow $200 million from the NFL to keep the Chargers here. But a stadium would likely cost at least $1 billion with a B. Now, a stadium could be built in the LA area without taxpayer funding, although taxpayers would still have to approve the zoning. Melissa Masiha, Team 10.
You heard Melissa mention the new Levi's Stadium in San Francisco. Well, that's the model that developers in Carson want to use for the new Chargers Raiders Stadium. Here's some perspective on how they did it. The whole thing cost $1.2 billion. The city of Santa Clara contributed less than 10% of that, $117 million, financed through a hotel tax. Now, the NFL put up a $200 million loan, and the 49ers fronted $35 million. Most of the cost, $950 million, was simply borrowed. How could they borrow that much money? Well, it comes back to what Melissa mentioned, those personal seat licenses, the fees charged just to buy season tickets. The demand was so high for the licenses and luxury suites that the stadium made back more than $800 million in sales before the first game was ever played.